Salakia, my thing cut me off. I'm going to keep reading this, but I was talking about the whirlwind and the cloud, right? Which is another word for chariot or so-called UFO. It said it was bright, and out of the midst thereof the color of amber. So it was like a yellowish chariot. Okay, that's what color amber is, like a yellow. I mean, if you really want to get a good picture of what the color amber is, just Google it. But let's keep reading. And it says, out of the midst of the fire, verse 5. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. So they looked like men. All right, they were angels. The creatures, he's calling them creatures, but they were the angels getting out of the chariot. Right? It says, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. And the wings goes into the garments that they were wearing. Okay, not actual like wings like a bird, but when you go into that metaphor or parable, it's actually speaking about the garments. All right, like when we go out and teach, we're wearing those garments, and sometimes the wind picks up, and our garments will fly up in the air when the wind picks up, like as if we had wings. All right, verse 7. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. All right, the burnished brass going in on the dark skin. All right, these are dark skinned men, just like the the parabolic description of Yahawah in Revelation 1 and 14. It talks about how his feet looked like they were brass burned in a furnace, right? So they were dark-skinned men that he saw, dark-skinned creatures. Let's see. And they had the hands. Let me see here. It says they had 4 faces, and I'll get into that in a second. Verse 8, and they had hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. All right. Let's keep reading. Their wings were joined one unto another. They turned not when they went, and went everyone straight forward. And as for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man, okay, which they were angels. The face of a lion, which is a parable for courage, meaning they were fearless, right? So the angels are fearless. They don't fear Esau, Edom. They don't fear his military. They don't fear his jet fighters. You know, this is a whole nother level. We're speaking about the Lord of Hosts army. And these are just a vision that Ezekiel got while he was on the river Chebar, right? On the right side, they had they 4 had the face of an ox. On the left side, ox was a symbol of strength. And on the left side, they 4 also had the face of an eagle, right? Showing how like swift, all right? So these things, these angels, and I keep calling them things or creatures, but you have to understand they were swift. You know, when you see the chariots, they're very swift. Let me get that definition for swift, just because eagles, that's what the way to describe the way an eagle flies is the word swift is a good description. Let's see. So this is the and Salakia, my computer, I'm looking it up on my laptop here. It's going real slow for some reason. Okay, so the definition for swift is happening quickly or promptly. And some similar words are rapid, prompt, sudden, immediate. instantaneous. You get the point. Without delay, high speed. And that's how these chariots are. They're swift, like eagles. So these are metaphors, parabolic, all right? Because Ezekiel, he's not going to sit here in this description, and here we're reading chapter 1. He's not going to be like, oh, well, there were UFOs, and they were courageous angels that were strong, fearless, swift, like the eagles fly swiftly, right? He's not going to say that. He didn't have the word UFO, all right? He was describing it through parables and metaphors, as many of the forefathers used parables and metaphors, including Yahawah, to explain things. All right. Let me see. What was I going to grab? I was going to grab a precept. So let's keep reading. Verse 11. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. Again, I told you the wings are dealing with the garments that the angels wear. All right. So they had 2 sets of garments, which was it's hard to describe this right here. We're joined one to another. All right. 2 covered their bodies, right? And 2 were stretched upward, meaning that was kind of like the propeller was the garment holding. If you could picture an angel with, and I'm not talking about angel having bird wings, but I'm talking about the garment. Like I said, when we're in camp teaching, our garments will blow up in the sky if it's not the sky but in the air, if we're if it's a windy day. Sometimes we got to grab our garment, because it'll be interfering with the brother standing next to us or whatnot. So this is what he's seeing. Verse 12. And they went everyone straight forward, whither the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. All right, so these creatures, or these angels, they were moving with the Spirit. Meaning, because they are spirits, right? Even the chariot is a spirit. That's why when Esau tells you that he's recovered crashed UFOs and whatnot and this and that, he's a liar. Because they're spirits, they can't crash. Okay. Now, can an angel come down to earth in the likeness of a man, like we're reading? The answer is yes, right? I believe many camps, including our own, we've dealt with angels who came to our camp, and when they left, we sat there. We was like, oh, those were angels. And the elders have spoken on angels showing up at their camp as well, in the form of a person. All right. Let me grab this verse real quick. Let's see. Let's hit this real quick, because the angels, they have so many capabilities, man. That's what you have to understand. They can change their, what you call shapeshift. They can change their appearance. They can come down and be like men, right? They did that with Sodom and Gomorrah. The angels visited Lot. They were in the form of men. Hebrews 13:2, it says, I'm going to read, start at 1. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. All right? So there's angels that come into our life in like a form of a man. And it tells you right there that, some of us have entertained angels, not even being aware that was an angel. Because I'm just expressing to you that the angels could be men walking like men on earth. All right. During the COVID, I'll share a quick story. During the COVID, right after they locked down everything, we were downtown in Denver doing our thing, doing our camp. We saw a chariot in the sky, and the whole downtown was empty because the city was on lockdown, and there wasn't anybody out there where we were downtown in the chief place of concourse. Down here we happened to be that day in 16th Street Mall, and there was nobody out there, but we saw a chariot. One of the brothers pointed it out, and then there was nobody out there. Then all of a sudden we saw a so-called black man walking right past the camp. He didn't even acknowledge us. He just walked right past the camp, and he had fringes on. And that's not something you see every day, and we happened to see it that day when there was nobody out there. So we all said, hey, that could have been an angel. Maybe the chariot dropped him off that we saw, and then he just walked past the camp. He didn't salute us. He didn't look toward us. He didn't nothing. But guess what? We noticed that he had fringes on his garment. It was a garment he was wearing. It wasn't like a long garment. It was like it wasn't long. I just remember we remembered that he had the fringes and walked right past the camp. So anyway, go back to the Ezekiel 1. And it says, where am I? 1 and 12. 13. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. All right, and that's another thing that's common with the chariots. You'll see the lightning. A lot of times during these thunderstorms, every time I see a thunderstorm, I'll go outside and really start chariot watching, looking for chariots, because a lot of times the chariots are out during those thunderstorms. And brothers, if it's the Lord's will, you can see a chariot during a thunderstorm. It says, and the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. You see that? So Ezekiel is describing, a paranormal thing, a supernatural thing, a divine thing, right? And what is it? He's describing in his best words the angels that were on the chariot. And let's read 15. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. All right, so Salakia got interrupted. All right, I'm on Ezekiel 1 and 16 or 15. Now as I beheld the living creatures, and beheld means observe, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So if you can picture like the chariots, they're shaped like wheels, and sometimes they have lights with another, wheel is a circle, then it would be like another circle inside the circle. And I've actually seen chariots, like it's describing here in verse 16. I've seen it up and close and personal one night when I was driving in, what's the name of it? Down south Denver here, there's a place called Ken Carl. And I remember one time I was driving my car from Ken Carl. It was about 2 in the morning, and I saw a wheel within a wheel like this. It actually had 5 wheels within a wheel because there was 5 circles rotating on the wheel. So let me. I was just gonna Google. Let's see, beryl, the color beryl. So beryl would be like a kind of like what from what I'm pulling up, like a greenish, bluish type color. Or wait, I don't know. Let me see here. Well, I take that back. I guess there's let me see. I'm not sure. I don't want to say because there's a few colors it's showing when I googled beryl. Maybe a bluish green would be my guess, but then they also show there's varieties. So anyway, I'm going to move on from that color. You can Google it yourself. And they had four, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went. You see that? So these chariots were just moving in the sky swiftly. That's why it was saying like eagles, and they were moving like instantaneous, without even turning, but they would move. This is what Ezekiel saw, man, when he's a slave in captivity right next to the river, and he just witnesses this, right? Verse 18, as for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. So remember, the scriptures talks about how Yahawah sees everything, right? Let me see. So this is another metaphor. You can see Yahawah can see everything and anything. Not only that, it's through his angels, because his angels, the word angel means messenger. So the messengers of Yahawah, Bahashem Yahushai, they're pretty much the Lord's eyes, and that's why he sees he don't miss anything. Let's get that in Proverbs real quick. Proverbs 15:3. It says, Proverbs 15:3, the eyes of Yahawah are in every place, beholding. And remember, behold means observe, so I'm going to read it like that. Observing the evil and the good. You see that? So the eyes of Yahawah are in every place. Why? Because the chariots are everywhere. And Ezekiel was a prophet, and he feared Yahawah. So that's why the chariot and Yahawah gave him this vision of the chariots and revealed to him actually even the angels. Because let's get it. Psalm 34:7, it says, the angel of Yahawah encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them. You see that? So we know that the chariots are going to deliver the elect. And the angel of Yahawah is going to be around everyone that fears Yahawah. The angels are around everybody, but they're only going to deliver the ones who fear Yahawah, believe in this truth, have faith in this truth. All right? But the angels, they for sure are around the Lord's men. You know how people back in the day, even before we were in the truth, we knew about guardian angels. So Ezekiel 1, and actually I'm on 19, says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. So, let me keep reading, and then I'll explain it. Whithersoever, verse 20, whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. All right. So the best analogy or comparison I could give for verse 19 and 20, because what it's describing is the chariots and the angels. They're like I remember I told you they're spirits, so they're like a spirit that's connected. All right. And a good illustration of that would be like that movie Avatar. Remember when the avatars would get on those? I forgot what they called them. Those creatures that they would ride, and they would fly through the air, but they would connect with the creature, and all of a sudden they became one with that creature, and that that whatever that thing was on Avatar that they rode, the Avatar would ride on them. They would, literally become one with that creature that they were riding. So that's kind of the explanation for these two verses. They're like they become one with the chariot. The angel and the chariot become one. Let's get this real quick because it kind of gives a little bit of a edification on the two. Psalm 104 and 3. It's talking about the chariot, right? The beams coming out of the chariot. Psalm 104:3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. See that? So the angels are spirits. And remember, Ezekiel is saying that these chariots, these wheels were spirits too, and they were moving like in harmony together with the angel, with the chariot. Just like that movie Avatar, man. When if you don't remember, go watch the movie. The Avatar would I don't remember, he would plug in. I don't remember if it was his tail or something. He would plug into the creature, to the animal, and all of a sudden it was like they became one. But anyway, let me go back to Ezekiel 1, and I'm on verse 21. It says, when those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. You see that? And remember, this chariot, these angels, they're going up high, coming back down low, going to the side, turning without even turning. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he was describing, the way they were moving. Verse 22, and the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal, stretched forth over their heads above. And under the firmament were their wings straight, and one toward the other. Everyone had two which covered on his side, and every one had two which covered on that side their bodies. So again, like the garments, they were covered by their garments. They each had, it sounds like, two garments on each angel. Verse 24. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings. And these are the garments, like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, and the voice of speech as the noise of an host. When they stood, they let down their wings. All right, so when they were just standing there, their garments were not in the air. But when they were up in the sky, when they were in the air, their wings were up in the air, floating in, like if you could imagine a strong wind causing a garment to blow in the air. So, and it's a noisy thing, like great waters, like it was a noisy thing. It says like the voice of the Almighty, which we know Yahawah Hashem has a powerful voice, right? Just think about Judah. The tribe of Judah, they got powerful voices. A lot of the Judites have strong voices. That's why they're singers, Really, I should say Southern Kingdom, because that includes the Levites and the Benjaminites. But anyway, Ezekiel 21 and 25. And there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads when they stood and had let down their wings. And above the firmament, and the voice above the firmament would have been the voice of Yahawah, all right? And the word firmament, it literally means heaven, all right? It means the sky. So where am I at? 26. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne. All right, so this throne is, guess who? Yahawah. As the appearance of sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was a likeness as the appearance of a man above upon it. So Ezekiel actually saw like a vision of Yahawah. We go back to the very first verse. Let me see. It wasn't the first verse, but it was the third verse. It says, "The word of Yahawah came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of the Yahawah was there upon him." All right. So Yahawah was in the presence of this magnificent vision that he gave to Ezekiel, which was the chariots and the angels, which Ezekiel refers to as creatures. But we know those are the angels because why? Because we go to Amos 3:7, because to the world this is all a mystery, and to the world it's a mystery, but to the Lord's servants who are his prophets, we know what it is. Amos 3:7, "Surely Yahawah the Most High will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets." All right, so we'll go back to Ezekiel 1:27. It says, "And I saw the color of amber as the appearance of fire round about within it." Remember, he sees the throne. He sees the Yahawah's throne above the firmament, which is meaning above the angels, above the sky. Because remember, the earth is Yahawah's footstool. All right, let's get that real quick. So Yahawah's way, like I said, the earth is his footstool. Let me see. I'm going to grab this in Isaiah real quick. Isaiah 66:1, it says, "Thus saith Yahawah, the heaven is my throne." And that's what, remember, Ezekiel saw the throne in heaven, above the firmament, above the heaven. Right? Above the sky. "And the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me, and where is the place of my rest?" You see that? So that's what it is, man. The earth is Yahawah's footstool. So back to 27, it says, "And I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about." Let me see. "And I saw the color of amber as the appearance of fire round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and had a brightness round about. As the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud of the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about. Was this appearance of the likeness of the glory of, or this was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of Yahawah. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake." All right. So I'm gonna stop right there. But I mean, this is literally, he's seeing Yahawah, but he was so bright and magnificent and beautiful and glorious that literally Ezekiel just fell on his face, bowed down. That's how it is, man. If you can imagine, that's why people say, "Oh well, God talked to me. He came down and talked to me." And if you ain't a prophet, especially if you're not a prophet of the nation of Israel, The Israelites, so-called black, Latino, and Native Americans, they ain't happening to you. You Edomites, this ain't going to happen to you, you know? But if it was to happen like it did with Ezekiel, it's so beautiful, powerful, glorious that all you can do is put your face to the ground in fear and just hope that Yahawah, has mercy on you. Nothing else, man. But this was my breakdown of Ezekiel 1. I hope you were edified. But it's the vision of the Most High Yahawah and the chariots and the angels, which he gave that vision to Ezekiel. All right. And as you can see, hey, it was a powerful, powerful vision. But I'm going to close out on that. I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor, all the love unto Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Yikakwadash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And Shalom to the elect. Shalom. Keep enduring, brothers. We're all going through hell, but hey, we gotta just keep pushing, man. We all going through it. We're all feeling the that going through that adversity. All right, shalom, brothers.